Hey everybody, it's Peter, and this is the Peterbilt Model 579. It's a 2025 model, and it is not a motorcycle like I normally do, not a ATV or side-by-side. This year, I've been super interested in transport trucks, big rigs. I think they're cool. There's a whole bunch of technologies that are cool about them. Now, I'm by no means an expert on these, but this year, I'm gonna get to know these. Over the next year and hopefully more, I'm gonna spend time getting to know these and showing you all the cool things about them. So maybe you're not in the market to buy one of these, but they're super cool. They've got a lot of cool technologies, and I like to teach about vehicles and that kind of thing, so hopefully you'll stay tuned. And if you're just watching the channel for the first time, we do all kinds of power sports on this channel, and now I'm doing big rigs because it's just something cool that I wanna try out and I wanna take a look at. Now I'm filming here at Peterbuilt Atlantic. They have 8 dealers in 5 provinces in Canada. There's 10 provinces in Canada and 3 territories, 2 when I went to school, 3 now. But 5 provinces is half the provinces in Canada. These guys have dealers. Basically, if you head out east, you're dealing with these guys, and they are absolute experts. And I made the same deal with them that I make with the motorcycle dealers. I say to them, hey, I want complete access to your entire vehicle line, and I want you guys to teach me everything I want to know. And they're like, sure. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about this thing, so stay tuned. And if you've never seen this before and never been on this channel before, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Thank, Peterbilt Atlantic, whatever you wanna do. Let's build this out, make it bigger, and give you something cool to watch. All right, let's get going. So if you don't know anything about big rigs or trucks at all, Peterbilt is kind of like the brand that you want. And I don't just say that because we share a name, but Peterbilt is really cool. They're fit and finish, their amount of features, options, accessories, and if you've ever tried to build and price a, something like a Ford F-150 on Ford's website, you realize there's all kinds of options and features for all kinds of different work, and these things are that to the extreme. So you need a great dealer to make sure that you make sense of them, and these guys, again, super awesome. So this vehicle is going to have some features and not have some features because you have to equip them all sorts of different ways. But the model that this is called the Model 579 Ultra Loft. It's kind of like this big one-piece high cab, sleeper cab, and we're gonna show you some stuff out the front. This is all about aerodynamics. This isn't actually the most popular Peterbilt out there. This one's sort of more their streamlined one, and this one's all about efficiency. And just like with motorcycles, there's like super sports and cruisers and other stuff, there's a lot of different kinds of trucks. And just like in motorcycles, if you take a super sport and a street sport bike, to the average user, you can't tell the difference. Well, it's the same thing with trucks. This is their highway version. It's about efficiency, and of course there's other highway versions as well, but there's a lot of little differences in the model lines, and they're just really cool. So we're gonna point out some stuff on this one, including one feature that I think every new car should come with that almost no cars come with, and it's a big safety item. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna start at the front, we're gonna work our way through, we're gonna head inside. If you've seen my small camper reviews, you're gonna love the cab of this thing. So let's get going with some of the details on the front here. So if you've seen this view in your rear view mirror, you might be intimidated. However, I'm gonna tell you, if it's a Peterbilt Model 579, you don't have to be as intimidated because this model is all about aerodynamics. It's trying to find a little bit of efficiency both in the powertrain and in the overall body to give the user, the owner, better fuel efficiency. And when you think about it, it actually is a big deal. If you had, let's say, a Toyota Prius that uses this much fuel and you tried to save 10%, you're saving this much fuel. But this uses a lot more fuel. Saving 10% is a lot bigger savings. And of course, over a whole fleet of these, you're going to save more and more and more. And that makes a difference not just to the owner and operator, it makes a difference to you, the consumer, of whatever they're carrying. Their lower costs, hey, maybe they'll pass them down to you. You never know. I'm not in charge of all that kind of stuff. However, this thing is pretty cool. So one of the first things you're gonna see here when I talk about it being not as intimidating, this nose is actually lower than on a lot of other trucks. And that of course is for aerodynamics, but that aerodynamic advantage also gives the driver an advantage to see right down, virtually right in front of the truck. So you have an aerodynamic advantage that gives you a safety advantage. Now, I'm gonna talk about one more thing about safety that this vehicle has that every new car should have, and I'm not aware of any new car that does have it. It's a huge advantage on this, but before we get to that, we're gonna stay on aerodynamics. We're gonna talk about this. You may notice that this is incredibly low. If I put my size 11 foot up here, a little over halfway to my toe is the ground. So I don't know how many inches that is, but it's quite low to the ground. Now, again, like trucks, regular trucks, there's a lot of options on this. This is an option. It's actually a fairly rigid, but still, like durable but still flexible piece that helps with those aerodynamics to send that wind under the vehicle and send less wind under the vehicle and more wind around. So again, that's going to help with aerodynamics. If you look at the bottom of a tractor trailer, look at the bottom of just a trailer itself, there's not a lot of aerodynamics underneath those, and this is going to keep that wind away from there, which is again contributes to efficiency. So that's kind of a cool piece. Now out here, this is removable, and they don't usually equip these trucks with that out east, just based on our roads, and not just so much the highways, but based on the places that these trucks have to go to. They're not always on the highway, they're also in other places. So overall, you've got that. And then you've got things like the swoopy aerodynamic lines over here. This is all sort of one body piece. On the traditional, more popular Peterbilt models, you have that more traditional rounded type shape. This is again more aerodynamic. Now, what is the piece that is not available on your car but is available on these? Well, first of all, this has LED headlights and LED fog lights. That's a lot like your modern car. Now, LEDs, we've talked about in the past on this channel, they're great because they give off that daylight-like color. At least it's closer to daylight than a typical halogen light. And what that does with your brain is it not just gives a bright white light like you see, but your brain, because it's closer to daylight, has less trouble identifying what it's seeing. So I always like to say you can identify between that rock or that rabbit, which makes more sense if you're driving an ATV with LED lights. But again, same idea. Closer to daylight, you can make those quicker decisions. Now, the thing that this vehicle has that your car probably doesn't and definitely should is this has a heating element. Now, you may not know about this, but regular halogen headlights, they used to create enough heat. So basically all of my life, they created enough heat that out here in Canada, if you had that snow and slush coming off the road or sticky snow falling from the sky, it would go on the front of your vehicle, but your headlights would stay clear because the halogen lights create enough heat. LED lights create almost no heat, which means that snow covers them over, except for on this truck, it doesn't because it's a heated element. So heated element keeps you safe. This truck has it, your car probably doesn't. You should probably want that in your car. It's one of those cool things that Peterbilt does that just makes them pretty cool. All right, let's move along to the side of the vehicle. We're gonna talk about some few other efficiency things, and then we're gonna head inside the cab here. And if you've, like I said, if you've seen my small trailer reviews, you're gonna love the cabin here. But let's work our way down the side first. So taking a look at the front tire area, another kind of cool thing you have is, again, this is an accessory you can put on, so it just closes that wheel well a little bit more, closes it right down, curls right back around. Again, all about efficiency. So you can see right from the corner where my toe is, all the way around, close in on the wheels. Now these are Michelin tires. There's a lot of Michelin tires out there for trucks. We're gonna talk about them a little bit later. Actually, we'll talk a tiny bit more about them when we head to the back of this, but you can see very smooth sided tires. Again, not a lot of wind resistance in there, no lugs on the side, anything like that. There's different front tires than rear tires on a truck, so that's something to know. And these, although we look like steel and there's some little bit of rust in there like you would see on any other vehicle, any other bare metal, the actual wheels themselves are aluminum, a little bit lighter weight, less rolling, reciprocal rolling stuff, so that's going to save you some weight as well. So lots of lug nuts. We're going to talk about servicing these trucks in future videos as well. But again, smooth tire, and then you can see you continue down with this ultra low area here. Now again, remember the last one, I used my foot up like this to sort of show. Well, this one with my foot on the ground, basically where my laces hit, this piece touches. Now this is incredibly low. Again, as the wind comes around the side, it's going to want to get in underneath, and this is going to keep it out. It's got that little lip there, but being flexible, almost like a mud flap, it allows it to hit curbs and move around, but also helps with aerodynamics. Same thing with the bodywork here. The stairs are integrated into the bodywork here, keeping it nice and aerodynamic. A lot of aerodynamics, and as we look up a little bit, even the mirrors are unique. We're going to talk about the mirrors when we head in the cab, but even the mirrors are unique for aerodynamics, but they're also designed to keep wind noise down in the cab, which is something you wouldn't always think about, but they do think about that with Peterbilt. Talk about the windows in there as well. Let's head to the rear tires. One more thing I want to show you there before we head inside the cab. So taking a look at the tires, again, I mentioned they were Michelin. I don't know if you see that down the bottom of your shot, but you got the X-Line Energy D. A lot of their Energy tires are low rolling resistance tires, and this is no different. Now we're gonna zoom right in here to the tread because I find this interesting. This is low rolling resistance tire, so that's gonna be less rolling resistance, is again, better for efficiency, but even the unique side area of these, they don't actually have the tread through the side here. So again, this is also helping with efficiency. So even down to the tire tread on the very edge of these, they have little markings here, but they don't actually have the cuts through. On the other trucks that we have that aren't sort of aerodynamically designed, these cuts would come right through. On this one, they don't, and that again, every little bit of aerodynamic efficiency can help when it comes to these trucks. So kind of a cool thing. But what we really want to talk about is the inside. So let's do that. All right, filming on a nice sunny day. It's a little harder to show you the darker interior, but we've got one step, which I come up, two steps here. There's a handle which I'm grabbing onto with my hand after I've opened the door, and I jump right in here. There's actually another handle out front here, and I'm on the nice leather seats. And if you can tell there, I'm actually uncomfortably low, and that's because this seat comes all the way down. Peterbilt does amazing things with their seat. We're gonna do an entire video on some of their seat stuff, but I press this button, and it is currently rising up to where I last had it set. Now, I actually didn't drive this thing or move it, so it's actually where the previous person had it set, so he's got a little longer legs than me. But the point is, it returns exactly to where you had it set. Again, an entire other video. You've got a real commanding view up here. Let's bring you inside and show you around. Okay, I gotta show you one quick thing. I just got out and I was told you had to hit this button to lower the seat once you got out, but I kind of geek out over the details. So I actually just got out of the seat and it sensed I was gone and actually lowered it down for me so I can get in easily again. I left it in the higher position, it lowered itself down. Super cool stuff. Lots to talk about with the seat. We'll do that in another video. Let's keep going inside. All right, so this is what every young kid dreams about, and I'm still a kid at heart. So this is where all the magic happens. Now, what's cool to me about this is it's actually very comfortable. You've got armrests here. They're adjustable, a lot like an RV armrest. You can kind of spin these areas to have them up or down. There's one on this side as well. So you can sit there and comfortably be in control, and that's the big thing with this. The seats in this vehicle, they just have to be like super comfortable, but not lazy boy comfortable. They have to be like keeping you alert and comfortable. And I really, really like the way this is done. So although you have a nice wide and semi-padded, like a little bit soft touch arm or door sill here, you still got the armrests here. And that's important because if I was to lean like this, I got a funny back and I would be just leaning aside. I mean, in a car, you don't really realize it. You can sit there and like lean to the side, but that would hurt my back over time. So this is gonna keep you totally square. And again, as someone who does have a bit of a funny back, very, very comfortable seating position. So that matters. The steering wheel is larger than certainly in my car, but not like ridiculously large that you kind of picture. And again, power steering takes care of, you know, you don't have to, it's not a super heavy thing to do. This one's an automatic transmission. I believe this one is a 12-speed transmission. There's others with 18 speed. There's probably others with more speeds. This one's an automatic transmission. So I won't say it's like driving your minivan. It's not that much different than driving your minivan. And what I'm looking at is a pretty cool dash. I want to talk about some of the mirrors and some of the things in here. So we're going to put the camera around. I'm going to hold it for you, and we're going to show you what I see. So full disclosure, on the last shot and on this shot, I'm filming right now in wide angle. My camera was just over there. So again, it makes everything look a little bit bigger in here, kind of skews the edges, but we're gonna zoom in here. So first of all, this is a controversy in the trucking world, and I think it makes some sense. Right now you have digital gauges. I like digital gauges. I think they make a lot of sense. When I talk about motorcycles, I like that as well. Although I drive a motorcycle that is a fairly new 2022 motorcycle that has the analog gauges, and the controversy is a lot of the truckers like the old school analog gauges. So again, they look like you know, analog gauges, but it is a digital dash. So again, we're going to go through a dash in the future on this, but there's a lot of features here. You used to have sort of a dash over here that was just like an entire segment of gauges, but now you can put a lot of that into your dash. And I want to show you a couple cool things. Again, this is all about torque in this truck. So you can see there's your RPM, right? Your rev range. And it's just about 20, what is that, 2,300 RPM, not even 22.5, kind of 100 RPM is your red line. So the engines on this, they don't make a whole lot more horsepower than you would make in a sports car, like 450 to 650. I've driven cars with more horsepower than this, but what you have here is a ton of torque and a ton of torque down low in the rev range. Again, revving low is just the way diesel engines work, but it also works well for fuel efficiencies. So you've got that there. Let's going to scroll down on the wheel here. We'll come right down here. First of all, a lot of controls, a lot like a Porsche. They have the key on the left-hand side. That makes sense in a vehicle like this. If you just wanted to grab it without having to climb all the way in, you can reach it from the door. So that's down there. A lot of controls down there for lighting and other kinds of things. And you do, just like your car, have steering wheel controls. Now, a little bit different steering wheel controls. You've got cruise control, of course, right there for you. You've got a navigation button. This one I don't believe is equipped with the in-dash navigation, but you can have that as well as a feature. And then this is just something to dim and brighten your dash, which is kind of nice because as you're sitting there on a road, you know, and you're driving all day, you may want to dim this down because if that's too bright, it creates glare in your eyes, which makes it harder to see. So you've got that dimmable down there, right there on the steering wheel. So again, you don't have to look for something like that. And then of course over here, you've got to keep entertained. You've got phone connections and music and that kind of thing, which you can play through your stereo there. Stereo looks a little old school. Hey, it is what it is. We'll stay out of the sunlight there. You can put GPS systems and other types of things in there. This one doesn't have that. There's a lot of things. And then you have extra controls there. Now, I will say that this is sort of very driver focused. This is angled towards me, where this one is angled more towards the center area. And that's because you could easily take a passenger in this who could also be very comfortable in the same sort of seat that I'm sitting on. And what everybody wants to see is the ultra loft cab. This thing is cool. It's massive. I'm going to figure out how to film it for you right now. All right, I'm filming in wide angle again, just so you can see. This is the driver's seat here. Again, the edges are going to be skewed a little bit, but it's the best way to show you what's going on here. So there's a lot of things I love about this. This is like an ultimate camper all-in-one. So we're going to talk about this. Let's first show you down here. We've got a little fridge down there. Let's just open it up and show it to you. Pretty cool little fridge down there. Whoops, working my handheld camera here. It's having some trouble. There we go. So you got a little fridge in there. It keeps everything you need. You need to put your clothes somewhere, right, when you're gone for a long time. And of course, you've got a big cabinet there. Again, all this is sort of easy to clean. What I like here, a little bit of a mirror. You can check yourself out, see how you're doing there, and make sure you're looking fresh. Little pocket in the door. And then of course up top, extra cabins. We're going to show you a lot of this stuff when we do a proper tour of just the cabin. Little window up top that does open, so if you're sitting on the top bunk, you can put stuff there. Now you don't have to sit on the top bunk. There's a lower bunk as well, so you could sleep two in here. This is looks like a little, maybe it's not a larger bed up there, but it's currently, the mattress itself is folded up. You can see the netting up there, and that's for a reason. But before I show you that reason, let me just show you the coolest ladder in all of trucking, RVing, wherever it is. So this thing here, you pull the lever right there, and the ladder comes down. Let me just try to do it all on the camera shot. I'm trying to do it slowly. It comes down nice and quick and simple. And then you can just put it down there. You can sort of lengthen that leg out. It'll touch exactly where you need to. And now you have a ladder that's on an angle, securely, like secure, solid, and also big steps. So it's not like uncomfortable on your feet. So you can get up to that top bunk. Now we're going to put it back here. Again, I'm filming this all with one hand. So let me just try that. Put this up, give it a little bang. Boom, no problem. And that's up in the bunk. And then of course you can put the bunk back up like this. Slam it in place, and now you can store all your luggage up there. If you're traveling alone, you can put it all up there. It's not going to fall down on you. And then here's the bed. I got to try it out. We'll do that in a second here. Over here, a couple other things. Another little storage area. Again, if you're on the top bunk, that's going to be sort of just for you up there. Down here, you have an inverter in this, just like an RV, so you can plug in your things. Not everybody has that. Peterbilt thinks that. And little things to strap down various things, like some nice soft rubber on here, soft rubber padding on there, so you can strap things down. And then you've got everything else, again, for the back of the cab. So you've got your heater here, which is, again, a lot like an RV heater, but it's a furnace that runs off diesel fuel. So, of course, if you have diesel fuel, you've got heat in the back. So when you're, if you want to turn the engine off on this thing, you can do that and just run your diesel fuel heater. There's your inverter, there's your rear sort of climate system, and there's also a stereo system there with alarm system built in there, like alarm as in, I assume, wake up alarm. You control windows, you can control various things with the bunk and stuff as well. So very cool, 12 volt, are these 12 volts? Yeah. Both of them 12 volt ports. Wasn't sure if they were USB or not. And again, lots of little spaces to put things in here. I'll have to push that in later. It's a little firm plastic. There we go, I got it in line. Then you got cup holders, little space in there. So everything's secure, little, another spot over there. All kinds of storage in here. Again, kind of puts a lot of RV manufacturers to shame. Even a drawer down here. And that drawer functions as, looks like a little table. Almost looks like an inverter cooktop. I don't think it is though. Have to find out about that as well. All the sorts of things that I still don't know. All right, I've got the camera in wide angle, so I gotta kind of lay down here. I was trying out this bed, and what's cool is the mattress is long, but even where my feet go, it's still longer still. I'm a 6-footer. I'm gonna put my feet on the edge, and this is how much space I have. Tons and tons of space, even if you're tall, if you're big, and the mattress, pretty comfortable, I gotta admit. So that's our first look at Peterbilt trucks. This is just kind of an overview. I'm gonna learn to be an expert on these, and Peterbilt Atlantic is gonna help me do that. We're gonna have a whole bunch of more video stuff coming up. There's a lot of like cool stuff about these trucks that we haven't even touched on, a lot of technology things. We're gonna compare between one model truck to another model truck to explain the use case of one versus the use case of another, some of the unique features, different types of things in the transmissions and engines, all the fun stuff that's technical. And I'm gonna try to plain language it all so that we can go through and you can kind of see what I see in these, that they're just really, really cool. So this is our first video in the series. If you made it this far, do me a favor, you gotta leave a like, maybe try to leave a comment, leave something positive. For me, for Peterbilt Atlantic. And again, if you want to stop by to some of the Peterbilt Atlantic stuff, you got to check out this showroom. There's like merch you can buy. You can get sweatshirts with Peterbilt stuff, really cool stuff. So you can feel free to swing by. I'm filming here at the Fredericton location, which they call the Hanwell location. Hanwell is just kind of a piece just outside Fredericton, but it's basically Fredericton. Like I said, 8 locations, 5 provinces throughout Canada. They're awesome. So thanks for making it this far. We'll catch you in the next one.